Hey everyone. Well, the last couple of weeks we've been talking about the operating system for the business, which solves the core problem of actually not having systems and processes in your business. If you're anything like me, you've heard for years that you need to have systems and processes. You read ebook, et cetera, and nobody ever shows you like actually what that looks like. So 2 weeks ago, we talked about having a team headquarters, like one place that you can say, this is where my operating system lives. Then last week, we talked about how many playbooks does the business actually run on? What's the architecture of the operating system itself? And starts off with a handful of principles. We call those clarity, alignment, team, and execution. Uh, and then there's three playbooks under each one of those. And so the business runs on 12 playbooks, not some infinite number of those. And then now this week, we're going to talk about what we call the 3D. So now you actually have the structure, and now we need to actually start creating assets in the business. What exactly will that look like? And so there's a really simple 3D model, and that is do it, delegate it. Let me redo that, team. Sorry. We have a really simple 3D model, and that is do it, document it, delegate it. Do it, document it, delegate it. So, as you're doing things, that is the best time to begin the step two, which is to document it. Now, this may seem obvious, but here's what tends to happen. It certainly was the case for me and has been the case for many clients that we worked with, is that you begin to do something and then you think, okay, I'm just going to do this and then I'll come back to it. Here's a really specific example. You lose a team member and you need to, start the recruiting system. Well, you think, you know what? We don't actually have anything, we don't have anything we're following. We don't really have a step-by-step checklist. We just kind of know in our heads, this is, we're going to post it, and then we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. Maybe you are working with autopilot recruiting as an example, and then they get it to a certain place, and then we're kind of winging it at that point. And so you think, you know what? I'm just going to do this one, and then I'll go through and document what it is that we did. It just inevitably never works. It gets on some to-do list at some place, and you're never going to come back to it. The best time to document is as you're actually doing it. Even if it ends up being just a handful of bullet points as you're doing it, it is so much better than trying to come back and do it after the fact. And then you have to go and delegate it. Okay. And so the way to think about delegation is if someone can follow exactly what you documented step by step without your intervention and they can take it through to completion. Now, that does raise the bar quite a bit, but what you're going to inevitably find is that if you can do that and you can hand over the entire recruiting system to someone and they don't have to come to you, you're ultimately building a business that can run and grow without you. And I think that is absolutely so imperative. Can the business run and grow without you by the documentation that we have? So we have this one place that the business operating system lives. That's your team headquarters. And then it's running on a handful of core playbooks. Then we're going to learn how to actually create our systems and our processes, our team member onboarding system, our referral system that we're going to have to be able to get our current customers to be able to refer other customers to us. Our recruiting system is going to be documented that somebody else is able to follow that. Now, we've got a great tool that we call the playbook for creating playbooks. It's basically when you're actually creating some of these assets in the business, how do you do it in a way that it creates continuity and consistency in the organization? This document is all the way down to, making sure that all of your documents have the same fonts, the same colors, the way you structure your documents is the same. Now, I've talked about this before. I've did a podcast on it, but I think it's worth revisiting is that, we have this maxim that never send a document in Arial. And you may say, I think that's ludicrous. It doesn't matter what the font is that you use. Well, I understand. However, it's much more of what happens to the mindset in the organization is that everybody knows that we do things by design and not by default. And there's a practical part of this too, is the fact that, all of your documents look the same. And so whether you're creating one, your EA is creating one, an office manager is creating one, they all ultimately look the same. And so instead of it being kind of a quilt or Frankenstein to where everything looks different, somebody uses one color, you use another color, they're all going to look the same. I mean, sure, that all looks nice and tidy, but it's much more about the mindset behind the fact that we don't do things by default here. We do things by design. And so I'd love to give you that asset if you just want to email our team support@blueprintos.com and just say, hey, I'd love to get the playbook for creating playbooks. We'll send that over to you. It's even got some videos that I've shot that I think will be able to help you on your journey. So the 3 Ds: do it, document as you are doing it, and then we are able to delegate it well. And I think our playbook for creating playbooks will be able to help you to do just that. All right. So that makes up the operating system. The three main things: we need a team headquarters, we need a handful of playbooks, and we're going to use the 3 Ds to be able to create assets in the business. Do it, document it, and delegate it. All right, everyone. Hope this has helped. Next time, we're going to pick up that in a place where you may not think is a place that you would normally go. Instead of leading your team first, I think that you actually need to lead yourself first. And that's going to be our next 3 episodes. So I look forward to seeing you. Okay. Lead well and go be great.
Lead well.